I'm probably disappointed. I'm probably gutted. Something has to change, but I don't know who knew what. I'm thinking, why don't they just come out there then? You know, I knew, and I'm hearing everybody else is saying they've only just found out. It's breaking news.
What have you made of him?
The drug cheat. Is that a fight you'd entertain? No, definitely. At no point, no.
They've done him a raw deal, I think. But I say it, I'm truthful. They should have had more brains. It was a fucking pathetic move.
Tested positive after traces of cocaine were discovered as a result of a routine test that was given to the voluntary anti-doping agency. It's understood that the anti-doping data on the day of the fight.
Boxing pros expose Conor Benn after win over Chris Eubank Jr. And honestly, this is outrageous. Conor's so-called win looks like steroids in action rather than skill in the ring. Chris stood no chance. Every punch he threw was met with enhanced power, speed, and endurance. The fight was less boxing, more science experiment.
He felt, the Conor failed a drug test. That is a fact. It's not been denied anywhere. There's lots of talk about, let's see how this works out, and he's entitled to get his day and so forth. Well, it should be dealt with very quickly, and it can be dealt.
Anthony Joshua doesn't hold back, and why would he? Conor Benn's victory is now officially under a cloud of suspicion. Fans are left shaking their heads. This wasn't talent, it was chemistry in motion. The guy might hit hard, but let's be honest, it wasn't Chris Eubank Jr. being outboxed. It was science doing the heavy lifting.
They're not going to accept that. I think what they want to see is, blood, him get hurt and take him out.
The controversy isn't cooling down. The whispers are turning into an uproar. Adam Catterall shines a light on the staggering truth. Conor Benn's test on fight day raises so many eyebrows it's hard to keep count. Fans are furious, questioning every swing, every combination. The so-called win now feels hollow, as if the fight was scripted with chemistry and not courage.
It being him connected to this, it's even more shocking. You just highlighted there, this is the noises that this is a voluntary anti-doping test that was taken.
Johnny Nelson cuts through the nonsense perfectly. Conor Benn may have looked faster, stronger, and more explosive in that fight, but that was steroids, not skill. Every so-called highlight is a slap in the face to real boxing talent. Chris Eubank Jr.'s loss feels less like defeat and more like witnessing a lab experiment wearing gloves.
2-minute interview. I always say, it don't matter what drugs you take, it doesn't make you a better fighter. It might make you stronger, might make you fit. It doesn't make you a better fighter, and that's proof. So until more news comes out, you just got to deal with it. Let's not.
Eddie Hearn's words make it clear Conor Benn is walking on thin ice. The win over Eubank Jr. is now under a microscope, and the British Boxing Board isn't ignoring it. Fans are laughing at the audacity. Conor's moment of glory is crumbling into scandal, and no amount of hype can save him now.
At the moment, the British Boxing Board of Control aren't. So we have to speak with them, deal with the legal situation and see where it lands. And this is quite fresh. Obviously, I don't even think it's 30 minutes. I think it's more like 10 or 15 minutes since that. And, we'll see what rolls on.
John Fury doesn't mince words. This isn't just cheating, it's reckless endangerment. Conor Benn's actions could have put his opponent at real risk. The idea that anyone could cheer for this victory is laughable. It's not a win, it's a crime against the sport itself, and the public knows it.
If Conor Benn's been using, ban the fucker. Ban him. Because it's a dangerous sport. Whatever they do and whatever they don't. But I'm having no opinion on it at all. A man's innocent till proven.
Duke McKenzie hits it right on the nose. Conor Benn has tarnished not only his own reputation, but his father's legacy. The elder Benn fought like a warrior with honor, while his son relied on shortcuts and banned substances. This win is a disgrace, and boxing fans everywhere are collectively shaking their heads.
He's done. It's like a slap in the face for his dad. His dad was an absolute warrior. I remember his dad well fighting, and he was an absolute warrior. And some of the fights he had will go down in boxing history as being some of the most savage fights ever. I don't think his dad ever got done for anything illegal. And to me, it's just wrong. It's
Carl Frampton hits the nail on the head. Conor Benn isn't just bending the rules, he's threatening the very safety of the sport. High-profile fighters like him have a duty, and using performance-enhancing drugs is unforgivable. A lifetime ban wouldn't be too harsh. Fans and fighters alike are appalled, watching a moment of supposed glory dissolve into disgrace. Benn's win now carries shame, proving that shortcuts in boxing don't just tarnish legacies, they endanger lives. The anger is real, and the outrage is justified. This is a wake-up call for everyone in the sport to protect its integrity.
High-profile guys getting caught, and it's just horrible. I genuinely, and I know you were about saying, without going fucking fully mental here, I just believe if you're caught with any performance-enhancing drug, you should be banned.
Dave Coldwell's reaction sums it up perfectly. Conor Benn's actions provoke instant disgust. Fans aren't debating skill, they're debating morality. Whether this is a first fail or the fifth, it smacks of arrogance and recklessness. Every punch thrown in that ring is now clouded with suspicion. Conor's so-called dominance looks empty when viewed in the light of possible PED use. The boxing community is shaking its head, realizing this wasn't a fight won by talent but potentially chemistry. Facts may come later, but the humiliation for Benn is already permanent.
Fucking hell, cheating bastard. You know, that's the initial reaction. Whether it's a first fail or a third fail, that's the initial reaction. Your gut reaction is, but then obviously we don't know what he's failed for yet, and we don't know what it is. But then when it's someone that's failed 3 times, or this is the third adverse reaction,
Adam Catterall exposes the harsh truth. Conor Benn's win highlights serious oversight in boxing. Voluntary anti-doping tests cannot be taken lightly, especially when careers and lives are on the line. Benn might have walked out with a belt, but the real danger is the precedent he sets. Fighters and fans are furious, realizing the sport's safety and fairness are compromised. It's not just about one fight, it's about protecting every boxer who steps into the ring. Benn's actions are reckless, humiliating, and potentially catastrophic. This scandal is a stark reminder. Shortcuts in boxing come at a high price.
And get paid.
Correct.
This should not be their decision. The British Boxing Board of Control should be standing up and taking the voluntary anti-doping test seriously.
Absolutely.
Yes, I know that you work with the UK anti-doping. I know that, but this is a test. He's popped hot. Let's look into it properly. What happens if something happens on Saturday night?
Absolutely.
What if we've already got a safety issue?
Gareth A. Davies drops a bombshell 14 supplements. That's not training, that's a pharmacy experiment. Conor Benn's victory over Chris Eubank Jr. suddenly feels like watching a science project in the ring. Every punch, every burst of energy suddenly makes sense, but not in a good way. The boxing world is shaking its head. Fans are horrified, realizing that this champion relied on a cocktail of substances rather than pure skill. 14 separate supplements is a blatant slap to the integrity of the sport and an insult to fighters who build their craft the honest way. Conor's win is now a punchline, a lesson in how far one can stray from boxing ethics before the world starts laughing and judging. This is more than controversy, it's a full-blown humiliation.
Reporting on it this morning, I'm just slowly coming up. One of my colleagues, Jeremy Wilson's doing it for the Telegraph. He's the drugs expert, or the doping expert on the desk, and I think there was something like 14 supplements that he was using.
Johnny Nelson lays it down clearly. Conor Benn may have pumped himself full of chemicals, but none of that replaces intelligence, instinct, or timing. Drugs can boost strength, endurance, or aggression, but they cannot teach you the subtle art of boxing mastery. Chris Eubank Jr. may have been outpaced, but the real story is that Benn's advantage came from the lab, not the gym. Fans are incredulous. The guy who celebrated a masterclass in the ring was relying on enhancements rather than technique. The humiliation is complete. Conor's performance now looks artificial, a spectacle of science over skill. In a sport that demands brains as much as brawn, Benn's approach is laughable and disgraceful. This isn't boxing, it's chemistry class in gloves.
Drugs don't make you a better fighter. Drugs may make you a little stronger, may make you a little, give you a bit more energy, but it don't make you technically smart. It doesn't give you all of that, you know. So those drug cheats that do it purposely, you've got to remember, you know, why are you doing it? What difference is it going to make? It's going to make you like a boxing Einstein.
Dave Coldwell captures the anger of the entire boxing world. Conor Benn's reputation is taking a battering, and rightfully so. The man who paraded a victory over Chris Eubank Jr. now stands under a microscope, and every fan, every pundit, sees through the illusion. Was it one fail, 2, or more? It doesn't matter. the stain on his legacy is permanent. Each punch thrown in that fight is now tainted by suspicion, and the so-called champion looks more like a science experiment than a skilled fighter. The humiliation runs deep. Ben may have won, but he cheated to get there. Every highlight feels artificial, every celebration hollow, and every compliment undeserved. The boxing community is shaking their heads collectively, realizing that Conor's shortcut to glory has turned into a spectacle of shame. It's a brutal lesson. No amount of steroids, supplements, or masking agents can mask the disgrace that follows when a fighter chooses cheating over craft.
It's fucking hell, cheating bastard.
Yeah.
You know, that's the initial reaction. Whether it's a first fail or a third fail, that's the initial reaction. Your gut reaction is, but then obviously we don't know what he's failed for yet, and we don't know what it is. But then when it's somebody that's failed 3 times, or this is the third adverse reaction.
Tony Bellew's words slice through the hype. Conor Benn might physically look superior, but the technical gap is imaginary. Chris Eubank Jr. is a brilliant boxer with real skill, timing, and ring IQ, and yet Conor somehow convinces some that he's the better fighter. Reality check. Benn's advantage came from chemistry and drugs, not craft. Every punch he landed looks enhanced. Every combination a product of substances rather than brain work. Fans are furious, seeing a young boxer's reputation undermined by shortcuts and deception. Benn's mastery is a mirage. His so-called dominance is hollow. The humiliation is total because the boxing world knows the truth. Talent cannot be faked. Conor's performance is a warning about how far one can stray before the sport itself cries foul. The ridicule is piling up, and his credibility is unraveling faster than he can throw a punch.
Conor is a far better fighter than Chris Eubank Jr. is a boxer.
Technically, yeah.
And that's the problem that Chris Eubank Jr. is having. He's got this thing in his mind. He's a masterful boxer. No, you're not.
No.
I'm sorry, no, you're not.
He's
Ade Oladipo raises an unsettling possibility. Conor Benn's enhanced performance may involve more than steroids. The potential use of cocaine as a masking agent turns this scandal from bad to catastrophic. What looked like a legitimate victory over Chris Eubank Jr. now feels like watching a lab experiment in boxing gloves. Fans and pundits alike are horrified. Benn's so-called triumph is now a lesson in deception and recklessness. Every jab, hook, and combination is tainted, and his credibility is disappearing in real time. Boxing purists are outraged, seeing a sport built on skill and honor mocked by shortcuts. The humiliation is overwhelming. Benn has not just lost respect, he's become a cautionary tale. In the eyes of the boxing world, this win is a punchline, a disgrace, and a warning of what happens when chemistry replaces craft. The fallout is only beginning.
Okay, that's kind of easier to digest. This is weird. I don't know if cocaine, I honestly, I don't know if cocaine is now used as a masking agent for a performance-enhancing drug.
The Conor Benn saga has turned into one of the biggest scandals in recent British boxing history. What was supposed to be a hard-fought victory over Chris Eubank Jr. has now transformed into a masterclass of cheating, deception, and reckless disregard for the sport. Fans are furious, pundits are calling him out, and boxing purists are left shaking their heads at the audacity. 14 supplements, potential masking agents, and a complete reliance on chemistry over skill have stripped Benn of any legitimacy. The ring is supposed to showcase talent, heart, and strategy, not science experiments. Chris Eubank Jr. fought with honor. His legacy remains intact, while Benn's triumph is now a cautionary tale. This isn't just about one fight, it's a warning for every aspiring fighter and every fan watching. Boxing deserves better. The sport deserves respect, skill, and courage, not shortcuts and scandal. So tell me in the comments, do you think Conor Benn should face a lifetime ban? Can any win ever erase this level of humiliation and disgrace? Let's hear your thoughts.